Jim Watson is the Mayor of Ottawa. Mayor Watson, thanks for taking time to speak with me again. Good to see you. I guess the question everyone in your city wants answered is, when will these protesters be leaving town? What can you tell them?
Well, I know today, for instance, the police went out with notices that I have right here to let them know that they should be vacating the space. This has gone on far too long, Peter. You know, it was started as a protest. It's turned into be an occupation. And the residents of this city have just had enough, particularly the people who live in and around the parliamentary precinct. So I can't tell you when the police will take action. Obviously, that's their prerogative, and they wouldn't share that with the public in any event, because they want to have the element of surprise, quite frankly. But there's certainly a desire to have this resolved quickly, safely, and peacefully. And that's certainly the directions that the chief understands has to be followed through, right. And I have great confidence in our new chief to do that.
But the protesters have been warned in the past that they're breaking the law and they have to leave, and by and large they ignored those warnings. Many of the people we saw today were ignoring the flyers and leaflets being handed out, the warnings being handed out by police today. So what's the next step as far as you know? After warnings are passed around, what next?
Well, it's if the individuals don't leave voluntarily, obviously there'll be a police intervention. That's our only option. We now have significant additional resources from the RCMP and the OPP, and we thank the two orders of government. We've been on the phone for the last several days with federal ministers and the Premier and the Prime Minister, and they're now starting to provide us with the resources we need to make sure that any operation is a success and we bring this to a safe and peaceful conclusion. We have, as you know, put up with a lot over the course of the last 3 weeks. This has turned into a carnival, and it's just a disgrace to the people who are suffering in the center town neighborhoods, Lower Town, and Byward Market. And we're putting every resource possible into getting this situation resolved sooner than later. You know, we know on weekends the rowdiness becomes even more of a problem. And we want this to stop as quickly as possible.
Where are you in the debate over whether emergency powers were actually needed, whether the government needed to invoke those? And a lot of people say, look, municipalities such as yours have all the powers they need to end protests like this. Where are you on that?
Well, the Emergency Act proposed by the federal government does actually help us. It allows us to force, for instance, tow truck companies to comply with police orders. The financial issues that are in the Act that hit people in the pocketbook is another thing that I think will be helpful. Preventing people under the age of 18 in these kinds of areas is helpful. Providing geographic footprint of the areas that are banned from these kinds of protests will help the city of Ottawa. So there are a number of elements of the Emergency Act that actually help us and help our police officers do their job more quickly and more efficiently.
Have you been given any indication that tow truck companies, even under the power of law, I guess, are prepared to obey those orders where safety might be an issue, repercussions might be an issue, that they're prepared to follow those orders and come and tow trucks and vehicles away if they are ordered to do so?
I'm not aware that's an operational matter, that obviously the police are involved with discussions with tow truck companies. The city has a number of tow trucks as well, so we have that capacity locally.
There is a new command structure. I think you sort of touched on it with the RCMP, the local interim police chief here, the OPP, What should we expect that to change? And I guess, why is it happening on day 20?
Yeah, it's an integrated command center that coordinates the activities, because we now have 3 police forces. More than that, actually, we have others from Toronto and Hamilton. You know, they've been very good municipal partners to bring in police officers from other jurisdictions, public order officers as well. So it's going to be integrated. The word integration means that we share information so the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. Lots of time to do a postmortem. I have a lot of questions why this was allowed to fester as long as it did. My view is that after the protest rally had taken place on the Saturday, they should be moving on the Sunday. Instead, it was built up and it's become a cause célèbre. You get more and more people coming, and it makes it more difficult for the police to act, but the police will act.
Do you think we'll see trucks here by the weekend, or will the city be clear?
Well, I think regardless of what happens and when it happens, it's going to take longer than a few days to clear out everything from, the mess that they've created in terms of, Johnny on the spots and sound systems and huts and towers and speakers and so on. That's going to take some time, and it's going to cost us a fortune. It's a mess down there, people defecating and urinating and so on in front of Parliament Hill. It's an absolute disgrace, and the sooner they leave the city, the better. Go back to your provincial capitals, lobby and argue with your provincial politicians. They have most of the mandates. We need to get our lives back. We need the residents of Ottawa to reclaim their city as quickly as possible.
Just in the next few seconds we have left here, what's your biggest concern now?
Well, obviously that it turns into a dangerous situation for both our police officers, our residents, and the protesters. The protesters have it in their ability to pick up, get in their trucks, leave, go back home, unless they're charged, obviously, criminally. But we have many more tools now that will hit those individuals in the pocketbook, and their life savings has gone into their truck. The city can possess that and sell it. So there is little incentive for these individuals to stay in our nation's capital. It's time for them to move.
All right. Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson, appreciate your time again today. Good to talk to you. Take care, Mayor.
Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye.